Without further ado, what's going on, people? This is Vito. We back with another one, Real Reactions. Today we got something special for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Lately I've been doing the balloon popping additions to it, man. But listen, man, I came across this gem maybe a couple weeks ago. I've been wanting to do a reaction video. This is about Judge Joe Brown's opinions about the OJ case, what facts he has gathered about the OJ case. And listen, bro, what he's about to say might just change your whole mind on what you felt about the OJ case. Pivotal case, crazy impact, you know what I'm saying? We can talk about that later, but let's go ahead and dive in, man. Real reactions, motherfucker. We back.
You about OJ Simpson. Do you feel like he did it or no?
I know Johnny Cochran well. His number's in my phone. I've known him since 1966. He and I discussed what his strategy was. There is a reality, and his strategy dovetailed into the reality.
And hold on, I believe this nigga too. When he say he got his damn phone number, I guarantee, and I bet when people come over for barbecues, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing he showed people. I got Johnny Cochran's phone number right here. Check it out. Keep going, man. I fuck with Joe Brown. Sorry, my late.
They did not have a case against him. I listened to every scrap of the trial. I recorded it in my chambers, court chambers. I was a bachelor then. And I would listen to Nancy Grace, who would say, the evidence against OJ was devastating. There's no way he'll escape the consequences for this. So I said, who is this Nancy Grace? And I'd listen to it. I said, wait a minute, what is she talking about? It doesn't get any better than that. The impound lot guy has just testified that he and his buddies went through the Bronco. There wasn't a drop of blood in it. They went through it with a fine-tooth comb. It was locked in a special enclosure that had 4 padlocks. They didn't have the keys to them. Only the detectives did. They were instructed to tow the car down to the crime lab 11 days later, and now it's full of blood. Where did the blood come from? All right? The DNA evidence against OJ is devastating. And when I listened to what the expert said, he said, this is not OJ. First off, this is someone similar, but there are approximately 96,000 people in LA County that would match this DNA profile, which, by the way, and this is interesting, reflects someone from Northeast Mediterranean ancestry or perhaps from the island of Sicily. We also get something that didn't pick up in the newspaper.
Now, y'all know DNA was a big factor in this case, y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much the golden key the prosecution had on OJ was this alleged DNA evidence. So what he's breaking down is crazy. What he's breaking down right now and saying that the blood that they found belongs to a Mediterranean man or somebody from Sicily. Now that's crazy how technology back in the 90s, back then, was able to determine and able to calculate you know what I'm saying, where somebody is from, the region, you know what I mean? And that's a very important fact. He also said 96,000 LA residents would have been able to match that blood profile. I'm telling you, y'all, listen, don't believe everything you hear, man. But let's keep digging, though. I like this, Judge. Keep talking that talk.
Was on television. They had 2 people who were testifying remotely in the federal witness protection program who dated Nicole's sisters. Their testimony was that it was a message to them to keep silent or their girlfriends, Nicole's sisters, would get exterminated. So where were they from? That hypothetical organization that's got contacts with Sicily. Now, it just happens that I know
He
personally
ain't
the
saying
guy
no
that
names.
made
He
the
ain't
gloves.
snitching, nigga.
I know personally, in fact, he was my brother, the person that was the expert knife killing that the prosecution called. Now, let's start with the glove. This person told me out his own mouth, and so did Johnny Cochran, they took a tracing of everybody's hand. OJ is a big dude. I knew him personally from college.
This nigga Joe Brown know everybody. He got Johnny Cochran's phone number, and the nigga went to college with OJ, bro. This dude is like the Forrest Gump, you know what I'm saying, of Black America. He's just always at the right place at the right time, man. Talk to me.
And he wore a size, not XL, but 2XL. The glove was a size L, so they knew it wasn't going to fit. But guess who wore a size L? Furman. Guess who found the glove? Furman. Under a half foot of dead leaves, 75 feet into OJ's dark backyard, supposedly.
Listen here, y'all. If everybody that knows about this case knows that that's one of the most, I guess it wasn't called viral, but just one of the most iconic pictures or video is when OJ trying to put that damn glove on, and you can see this motherfucker like, yo, who the fuck is gonna wear a glove that small, y'all? You know what I'm saying? And to be able to grip a knife, that's what we talking about here. We talking about you putting on gloves to stab somebody, two people repeatedly. Ask yourself logically, are you gonna put on some gloves that don't fit? You won't even be able to grip the knife. That's crazy. This was the damning evidence right here. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep listening.
All right. Now, my brother, who did not testify in front of the jury, when he was asked to assess the knife killing, he said, first off, OJ is a right-handed guy. Whoever did this killing is a left-handed person. Said each of the victims, Nicole and Goldman, were struck by a fatal blow with a knife turned sideways that slid in next to the central cartilage in the rib cage that tore up the aorta and upper two chambers of the heart. Then their throats were slit ear to ear, and somebody used some pliers to pull their tongues out through the slit throat. That's called a Colombian necktie.
Yo, now this is the shit I never heard about during the case. Maybe you guys heard of. I never knew of the carnage that he just described. Now that's crazy. Yeah, because we all know that's kind of signifying some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Most brothers ain't about to sit there and pull your tongue out through your through your throats. You know what I'm saying? That ain't, I don't know. That ain't really in our ideology. You know what I'm saying? When niggas trying to put in some work, even when you trying to torture. I'm not saying that no black person has ever done that, but come on, man. You know that's rare. That's some crazy ass shit, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? But that's interesting like a motherfucker. I never knew about that.
And meanwhile, in the blood, when they took him out on the scene, since he dealt with this kind of forensics, he says there's somebody that has a size 9 shoe and somebody that wore a size 10.5 shoe that's leaving tracks. OJ wears a size 12. And the blood that they supposedly say they found because somebody got a slight wound on something like a finger, that's the sample that has 96,000 other people in LA County that could have donated it. And it definitely wasn't OJ, but Nancy Grace said it was. Now, the problem was also
Shame on
this,
you, Nancy.
planting evidence. The jury saw this, and Cochran brilliantly used it in final argument, a split screen. There had been so many instances where people were accusing LAPD of coming in and stealing from upscale homes that they had a security squad that would be sent in to video a scene before the crime scene detectives started their work so you could see what was in there. Well, 1:14 on the clock in the video, you can see them video the foot of the bed. There are no bloody socks. There are no socks in there at all. It's well lit. About 5 minutes later, you can hear this: "Sir, who are you?" And you can hear somebody who's identifying himself as Detective Furman, and they tell him he has to leave immediately. The jury saw this.
Now, this is also crazy here. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I want everybody to, you know what I'm saying, make sure you fact check this. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was interesting, but I'm gonna have to go back and fact check this. You know what I mean? For real. But this is some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And the way Judge Joe Brown, I know people saying that he off his rocker or something now, but listen, he sound very lucid. He sound very coherent. And yeah, he sound like he know what the fuck he's talking about right now. So this is crazy, y'all. Man, let me stop. But this, yo,
Cochran is arguing from this at final argument. A few minutes later: "Sir, didn't we tell you you had to leave? Detective Furman, isn't it?" "Yes, sir. You got to go out of here right now." And they pan the camera around, and where is Furman? You can see through 2 doors into the bedroom. Furman is standing right there at the foot of the bed. 35 minutes later, when crime scene's in there, right where you saw it, 1:14, no socks at all, completely clear, right where you later saw Furman, you see now bloody socks. Now, what's the inference? Furman planted the bloody socks. You find that Furman has testified he found the size X glove that fits him that does not fit OJ, but his story is he finds it under a half foot of leaves deep inside OJ's backyard after he climbs the fence. Furman lives 28 miles away. He's off duty, but for some reason, he comes to the scene 5 minutes after the murder occurs. He also was subject to.
man, what the fuck? I mean, excuse my what in tarnation is going on, man? This brother was off duty. See, these are the type of things I didn't hear about, and I don't think maybe the news was reporting that he was off duty. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, I was younger, but this is crazy. I mean, with all this evidence, I'm surprised this even went to trial. You know, for real. This is, listen, I'm gonna talk about it later. I can't wait for this thing over with.
Testimony that he had been over to visit Nicole at least 11 times, and he was trying to talk to her, date her. There was also evidence that the jury here heard that, by the way, Nancy Grace said nothing about, where OJ caught her giving a head job to somebody on the couch, having sex with somebody on the couch, and the witnesses all say he was mad, but in the lines of, "Don't you know that the kids could come down and catch you? Why don't you deal with somebody who's not so broke they don't have an apartment or a hotel or a motel? If you need it, goddamn it, I'll give you the money."
Damn. Listen, I can see OJ saying some shit like that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, get the kids upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't even tripping. They probably was all in that swinger type shit for real. You know, them Hollywood elites, man, back in them days. Listen, but we ain't party. You know what I'm saying? They was partying. You feel me? So, man, it ain't no telling. Bro. It ain't no telling what, you know what I'm saying? But I can see that. I can see OJ just being mad. Yo, you tripping right now. Get the coke off the table. Take that shit to a back room or something. You feel me? Man.
They just don't spend it on drugs.
Feeling Claritin Clear is like...
If
Well, I told you drugs, didn't I? Just don't spend it on drugs.
OJ did what they said, he had just returned from a recital with his two daughters, he would have had to been prepared. Baby, girl, if you hear mama screaming, it's just daddy killing her. Go tell your baby sister not to panic. I won't hurt anybody. That is not the way it went down. All that stuff in there was garbage. The jury stayed out less than half an hour from people that I talked to who were present. Later, after I had the show, after I got a chance to look through all of the evidence, because some judge that I had recruited to UCLA happened to be granting me access to look at the pictures and look at the physical evidence. They had absolutely nothing on him but what Nancy Grace put out. And that sleazy woman who has got a history of that kind of behavior convinced the American public that OJ was guilty, and they didn't have one shred, one scintilla of evidence.
Now, that's a fact. The whole country did believe OJ was guilty. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not Nancy Grace was a catalyst, but she was a big media figure during that event. So yeah, for sure, everybody was pointing the finger at OJ, but you got to look at the evidence, y'all. That's why I'm encouraging y'all. Let's look at the evidence together. Let's fact check this, because you know this man has passed on, and to be honest, even though he was able to bounce back in a way, his whole life changed forever after this. You know what I'm saying? So hey, listen. Hey.
Now, Johnny Cochran told me, he said, Joe, what I did was this. I just got people over 45 years old, 40 years old, who grew up in Los Angeles, who understood that LAPD would lie. So they weren't freaked out by the proposition, and they just found LAPD was telling a big lie. That's basically what it was. They planted the evidence. Now, you want to get the kicker? There's what they call the Rampart scandal. The 4 chief detectives in the OJ case went to jail for planting evidence that resulted in 128 men being released from the California penitentiary because these low-down bastards planted it. These are the same 4 chief detectives involved in the OJ case. Also caught on tape was one of these lab technicians bringing OJ's 10 cc sample of blood back to the scene. What did you do with it? Well, I don't know. Did you bring it back to the lab? I think I lost it on the scene. The testimony they got from somebody that was an expert in that was that the blood sample you got, they tried to plant 10 cc's of OJ's blood, but it had decayed, so they didn't get anything out of it. But fortuitously, somebody else there that did do a little bleeding, which couldn't have been OJ because he had no wounds, and they brought in an airline co-pilot to testify that he got OJ's autograph in the flight log, and he had no wounds, and the guy sitting next to him played blackjack with him all the way to Chicago, said he didn't have any cuts on his hands. So
now this the shit. Like I said, bro, this is evidence, man. I ain't never heard, you know, nigga playing spades and shit, no cuts on the fingers, you know what I'm saying? Which is, you know, damn near it'd probably be very hard to do, you know what I'm saying? The amount of carnage and mutilation that was done to those poor people, for sure. RIP to Nicole Brown, and I forgot the young man's name as well, RIP. But the way that they was murdered was gruesome. You know, multiple stab wounds. I mean, this wasn't just a 10-second, you know what I'm saying, incursion. This, you know, there was some serious mutilation going on. So for a person not to have any type of wounds, no defensive wounds, you know, a person gonna fight for their life, you know. that's that's very telling. Sometimes you just got to look at it from a realistic point of view, and not to say that what he's saying is correct, but you do have to look at it from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? That propaganda will fuck you up. That's a fact.
They tried to plant the evidence. And that's exactly what they did. Like Johnny Cochran said, it was a rush to judgment. And actually, most of the defense lawyers I know and several of the criminal judges I know at the time who looked at this said they had probable cause to indict Furman, but they didn't. And who was it that cut their throats ear to ear and pulled the tongue out? And who was it that just hit the same death blow to each of them from the perspective of somebody being a left-handed person, taking out the aorta and two upper chambers of the heart? That was a pro. Now, here's one thing from the many homicide trials I'd either represented somebody with or presided over. Amateurs expect when they stab somebody, it'll be like in the movies, and they fall over. Absolutely nothing happens. They stab them. This dude ain't done nothing, man. It's Superman. Hell, boom, let me stab him again. Hell, nothing happened. Boom, let me stab him again. And you get 15, 20, 25 stab wounds until they add up so the person starts hemorrhaging enough so the blood pressure is more quickly dropping. A pro knows I just killed him. He might not act like it for a little while, but he's dead. And it was a pro that did it. And there were at least two people on the scene who were responsible for it. And there you go. That would exclude OJ.
I mean, he make a good point. You know what I'm saying? I mean, both victims succumb, similar wounds. So, I mean, it makes more sense that it's a two-man job. I mean, who's just going to sit there and just let somebody just stab somebody repeatedly and then let them turn around and then start stabbing you repeatedly? It's probably some type of struggle, some type of fight ensued. You know what I'm saying? If it's just one person, you might be able to fight them off. I know OJ big, but you might be able to do something, at least to leave some type of defensive wound. So it makes more sense that it's two people there. One is probably holding somebody so they can't get away while the other person is putting in the work. So this is crazy, man. And this is it's definitely thought provoking, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to share it, man. Shout outs to the Art of Dialogue. They do great work out there. I'm gonna leave the link for the entire interview for you guys. If you guys want to check out the rest of this, please do, man. I recommend it. This is a great interview all the way through, but this was just very interesting, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I always believed OJ was innocent. I mean, and I didn't know none of this. It was just off the sheer fact this how the culture was, you know what I'm saying? The black man really wasn't about to get away with killing two white people. Let's just break it all the way down, you know what I'm saying? And especially being a high profile brother. I mean, OJ was OJ, but it wasn't like OJ was MJ. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Some people you would think you can probably get away with murder. I never thought that OJ was freed off because who he was. You know what I'm saying? They always trying to get people, always trying to take down our elite, if you want to call it that. So, it was just always something weird for me. You know what I'm saying? And the glove, man. I mean, the glove. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit, man. If this is the glove you guys are saying that was no doubtably used in the crime of killing these two people and he can't fit the glove, come on. I mean, that's not something that his defense team came with. That was the prosecution's evidence. You know what I mean? So just off a simple, come on, man. But listen, this is forever going to be a story of controversy. You know what I'm saying? It was very impactful. And RIP to all victims involved. RIP to OJ Simpson, who recently passed. And we're going to take it from there, man. Once again, Real Reaction. It's your boy Vito, man. Like, subscribe, share. Make sure y'all blast this out, man. Straight up. Spit your game, talk your shit. Every Wednesday, coming to the stage, we have a live show that airs on Facebook and YouTube. And pretty soon, we're going to be hitting some other streaming networks too. So stay tuned for that. Peace and love, y'all.